Welcome everyone to this quick lecture on restoring the exercises database. This database is slightly different than what we've encountered before with the DVD rental database, so we'll quickly guide you through it, and we're going to be using this database for a series of exercise questions. So we're going to use this new database for a set of exercise questions. We've pretty much exhausted all the questions we can think of that are relevant to you in that DVD rental database. So what we're going to do is restore a brand new database, and the important thing to know that we haven't encountered before is this database actually has two schemas, a public schema and then something called a CD schema, which is just the name of the schema. And because our tables exist within the CD schema instead of the public one, we just have to specify it in our queries. So this means the queries for the from tables part will have a CD dot in front of them. So there's two tables that you're going to be using. So one is bookings and the other one is facilities. And so you'll be doing things like select everything from CD.bookings or select everything from CD.facilities instead of just writing from bookings or from facilities. And we'll give you a quick little tour of the actual schema and tables after we're done restoring. So let's go ahead and restore the database. We have two options for downloading the actual .tar file. One is the exercise.tar file directly uploaded to Udemy. In case you have any issues with that, I've also provided a permanent Google Drive link you can download from. So go ahead and in the resources, you should see two links, one for the direct.tar file and another one for the Google Drive. You can use either one. I'm going to click on that Google Drive link to show you what it looks like. So if you click on that Google Drive link, it looks something like this. It'll say something like, whoops, there was a problem with the preview. That's totally okay. You can't really preview a .tar file within Google Drive. So just click the download button here and it'll eventually download. Notice I've already downloaded it underneath exercises.tar. The only thing we have to remember is where exactly this .tar file is, and you can just show in folder, and eventually you'll find it if you explore. It's most likely underneath your downloads folder. I actually have it here myself, so I can see I have exercises.tar, and I can see the full file path to it. Okay, so let's go ahead and now restore that. I'm going to hop over to pgadmin. Okay, here I am in pgadmin, very zoomed in right now just to show you. I'm going to right click on databases after I've already connected to a PostgreSQL server. If you're starting pgadmin, you'll just have to click on servers, click on Postgres, reconnect, and then we'll go ahead and, just like we did last time, right click on databases, hit create, and then select database. Go ahead and name this database, technically whatever you want. I'll just name it exercises, same as the .tar file. And then let me zoom out a little bit so I can select that save button. So I'm pretty zoomed in for filming purposes. There we go. So I'll save this. There we go. Let's go ahead and click on exercises so we can connect to it. And then what we're going to do is right click on exercises and then we will select restore. And in restore we have this custom or tar format, and then you have two options as always. You can either manually type in the file name, which we discussed before in the DVD rental install lecture. So if you have any issues finding it with these three dots, just manually type out the full file path. But you can also hit the three dots and go to wherever you happen to save it. So I have downloads here. I need to change my format to show all files, and then you can also show hidden files and folders. Let's go ahead and select this based off when I downloaded it. Here it is, exercise.tar. Go ahead and select. If you have any issues, especially if you're on Mac OS or Linux, with these three buttons, just manually type out the full file path. You can easily Google search how to find the full file path for any file on your computer. So if I couldn't find it through the three dots, I just simply pass in the full file path. Okay, just like last time, I'm going to restore with pre, data, and post data. That's all we need to do there. And let's go ahead and hit restore. It'll say restore job created, successfully complete. In some older versions of PostgreSQL, you may find a failed execode 1. That's totally okay. You can go ahead and ignore that failed execode. It just means that it accidentally tried to restore it twice. This only happens on some versions of PostgreSQL combined with a certain version of sometimes macOS or even Windows older operating systems. However, it looks like successfully completed, so I had no issues there. If you get failed execode 1, you can ignore it safely for now. Go ahead and exit that. Then, important step here, we want to refresh so we actually apply those changes. Now if we go down here to schemas, you'll notice we have two schemas, a public schema and a CD schema. The CD schema is actually the one we're using, where if we expand on this, we have actually three tables, bookings, facilities, and members. So to show you what these actually look like, I'm going to right click and let's open up a query tool on exercises. So be careful to make sure you actually right-click on exercises, not the old DVD rental one. So I see here exercises. I'm ready to run my query editor. And as I mentioned, in order to actually grab stuff from the table, you'll say select from, and then don't just type in bookings, otherwise you'll get an error. It'll say, hey, bookings doesn't exist. You need to type cd.bookings because it's under the CD schema. You run that, and here we have the bookings. So essentially the way this works is to give you a quick tour of this database. We have facilities in this, and we have a facility ID, the name of that facility. You can think of this as kind of like a resort or a gym. And we have tennis courts, massage room, squash courts, snooker table, pool table. We have the member cost, so how much it costs if you're a member. We have a guest cost, so if you're not a member of our particular gym or facility, it'll cost you extra. Some initial outlay parameter, and then the monthly maintenance cost. So how much does it cost us as the owners of these facilities to actually run the tennis court every month? So it costs us $200 a month. The guest cost is $25. Member cost is $5. Okay, that's the facilities. Let's go ahead and take a look at bookings. So bookings is essentially someone, or like a member, booking a facility. So we have the booking ID, the facility ID, the member ID, the start time, and then how many slots were necessary. So if they're doing something like tennis, maybe they book 2 slots, or maybe they're just there to practice, so they book 1 slot, etc. And then finally, we have members. CD members, go ahead and run that. We can see we have the member ID, the surname, first name. Notice that if they're a guest, it'll just say guest, as well as their address, a zip code, telephone. Note some of these telephones are fake. Well, they're technically none of these people are real. Recommended by could be null, so we have some possibility for empty values, and then the date they joined. Okay, so we do have some things that are a little bit tricky here. We have some null values depending on whether they're a guest. Maybe we have a membership, but we have some null values for other information, etc. But that's it. The 3 relationships between the tables are our actual facilities, booking those facilities, and then members who actually book those facilities. Okay, that's all you should need to know. And coming up next is going to be a bunch of questions for you to answer on this database. Best of luck.